Hey there everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful layered heart Mandala chocolate box for Valentine's Day. The supplies you're going to need for this project is 65 to 80 pound cardstock. You'll want some form of liquid craft glue. I like to use Tombow liquid glue, and I have some other craft glues as well that I've used, but anything like that will typically work. You'll want some of those 3D foam tab tape so that you can create space between your layers. You'll need a Cricut machine or some form of cutting machine to cut this out. You'll also need to have a weeding tool on hand to remove the backs of those foam tape. And you may also want to have a glue gun on hand, which is optional but handy for when we're putting the box together. And then you will want our heart mandala template and the box template, which also goes with it, and you can find that linked below in the video description. Okay, so this is just a look at what I would do to get this box set up in Cricut Design Space. So first you'll want to download this template, which is available below in the video description. And if you're new to Design Space, then I have a separate tutorial on how to import files. You're going to be using this upload button over here, and you can find that tutorial below. That way you can get all the in-depth knowledge of how to upload files, unzip them, or anything like that that you might need to know. So once you import the file here, it'll look something like this. There's going to be a box file, which is of course optional. If you don't wish to turn this into a box and you just want to work with the layered heart mandala, then you could do that separately. For those of you who want to do the box, you'll need to change these black lines to score lines here. So it's going to come in grouped as a file. It'll probably be grouped something like this when it comes in, and you'll need to click on it to ungroup it to be able to select these black lines. I've already changed these ones here to score lines, but this one here still needs to be changed to a proper score line. So I'm going to select that in the layers panel over here, and I'm going to go over to operation, click that button, and go down to score. That way our operation type has turned to score, and it's not going to cut this apart. It's now going to score along those lines. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you attach the score line to the cut. So we need to click and drag over that red base piece and our score line, and then use the attach button at the bottom of the layers panel. When we do that, you'll see it reflected right here in the layers panel. We can see our score line is attached to that basic cut, and that's all right there. So now we're good to go, and now our Cricut will score where it's supposed to and then cut around it. And then, like I said before, if you don't wish to make the box, then you would delete all of these pieces over here. You would just be working with this 6-layered heart mandala. The last thing you want to think about is your sizing. So you would want to scale everything as a group. If you're wanting to make this a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, make sure you select everything as a group, and then you can scale it up or down according to your preference. So always scale together. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger here. And you can click off and select and say, okay, this is a little over 7 inches here. Keep in mind that however big you make the box, you're going to need to make sure you have paper that is big enough as well. So these pieces here can get rather long. As you can see, this is already 10.8. If you were to make something that's over 12 inches, you would need a longer mat and a longer sheet of cardstock, which Cricut does make if you're interested in, but just bear that in mind for the size of your paper if you're doing the box element. Once you have those few things set up, all you need to do is click on the Make It button and it will go to the cut screen. Since I'm using a Maker 3, it's asking me if I want to cut on a mat or not, and I'll just click that and hit Continue. And now it is sorting our projects by color here. If you need to adjust your paper size to say 8.5 by 11, which is the most commonly found cardstock paper, you can do that on this page. And if you happen to be using a longer mat because you have bigger paper, then it will reflect on this page as well if you've scaled the design to be much larger. You can click that Continue button whenever you're ready to go and select your material. It's going to connect to your Cricut machine first, and then you're going to see your material options here. So these are my favorites, but you might need to toggle over to Popular or even search and browse your materials. I'm going to be cutting a foil, and I'm also going to be cutting a glitter cardstock and a medium weight cardstock. So I'm going to select these accordingly to what I'm cutting out on my mats. For the most part, I am using medium cardstock, so that's what I'm going to do. You will also notice anywhere where you have the mat selected for these pieces here that get folded, you will see the score tool being referenced. So if you're using a Maker machine, it'll reference a scoring wheel. If you're using an Explorer, it'll reference a scoring stylus. And if you don't have scoring at all, then you could always just fold them by hand and delete the score line altogether. Let's go ahead and cut these out. Alright, so I have 6 different shades here that I'm using for my heart mandala. You would just pick those out according to the colors that you wish to use. I'm loading this onto my Cricut mat here, and the design is all set up in Design Space, ready to go. I've selected my corresponding material. This here is a glitter cardstock, so I did select that when I was cutting that option, and the rest I selected medium weight cardstock for. Feel free to get creative with these layers here. You can use different shades of colors. You could use glitter cardstock. You could use like a foil poster board cardstock, which I also have for one of the layers here. So play around with it and get creative with your different colors and textures in your layers, and it'll really make your heart pop all that much more. Okay, so all of my layers have been cut out. I'm going to start with assembling the heart mandala before I start making the box. So you're going to, of course, want to create these in a sequential order according to how the layers are shown in Design Space. And I'm just using foam tab tape here in order to place those around on the open spots of the design. And this is going to add some dimension to our mandala. So these 3D foam tab tapes, you could find them like on Amazon, and I have resources for that linked below for you. And you're just going to want to layer all 6 of these layers together, progressing towards the most detailed layer being, of course, at the top. And you can refer to the design in Design Space to make sure you're getting those layers correct. I'm using a weeding tool here to pull the backs off. You don't have to have a weeding tool for that, but it is kind of handy when you're working with those little paper backs as well. I decided to do a foil layer here. It's a foil poster board, so it looks really pretty. It's going to add some extra dimension to it with that color and shine. And then my topmost layer here is quite delicate, so I'm going to be using that liquid glue and just sort of dotting it along the edges and the inner parts of the design, and then I'll place that on top. So I'm not using that 3D foam tape on the most intricate part. I'm just using some glue. So here's a look at how the mandala is finished. Here's another design I did as well. You could stop here, or we could carry on with our heart box design, which is what I'm going to show you next. And so I have all of my pieces cut out here that we went over in Design Space, and what we need to do is we need to fold along those score lines. So we scored these, and they should fold rather effortlessly. Even if you don't score them, they should still fold fairly easily for you as well. So just go around with all 4 of these pieces and get them folded down, and then we'll start building them onto the hearts. To add these to the hearts, you're going to want to add a little bit of glue to the inside of the tab and then push it against the edge of the heart. Now, some people will add these on top, but I like to actually add them so they tuck underneath. And the reason I do it this way is because it guarantees that you're getting flush up against the edge of that heart there, whereas if you're trying to place it on top, you're trying to basically manually align it, and it gets a little bit harder. And then to cover up the back of the tabs on the opposite side, that's where we're going to add those duplicate hearts, and it'll look smooth on the bottom as well as from the inside, and you won't see those tabs at all once done, but you'll be guaranteed to have a nice clean edge because you'll be using the heart as a guide to push against rather than trying to set the tabs down on top like a lot of these boxes are often made. Alright, so you want to just continue around here. You'll see a little tab at the top that you can also tuck at the inner point of the heart and kind of tuck it around the top there so it's nice and seamless. And you'll just want to follow this all the way around to the bottom of the heart. And you're going to repeat this whole thing a second time for the other side of the box, the top side of our box. Okay, so I'm just finishing this up here, kind of cleaning up the edge, making sure I'm getting it nice and flush. I'm using hot glue for this part, but you could absolutely use the liquid glue as well. I just like the fact that the hot glue dried a little faster. So here's what this looks like on the bottom side, and because we used the tabs in this way, we want to cover those up with a heart cut out so that it's nice and smooth on the bottom. So here's where you're going to add a little bit of glue. You could do hot glue here. I like to grab another liquid glue here. This is basically the same thing I was using before, except it's a quick dry version. And I'm going to place this on and get that heart on the back so that it's nice and smooth when you look from the inside of the box or the back side or top of the box. Okay, so here's my box. I've repeated both sides, and now I have a top and a bottom to my box. So this is the part where you can take your heart mandala and you can add glue. Again, I'm using that liquid glue. I could have also used the other quick dry glue that I was showing there. They're basically the same thing. I'm just featuring the clear one here because I want to make sure that I don't get any white residue on anything. And I'm going to place this directly on the top here and get it centered, and then our heart box will be complete. You can flip it over and give it a little bit of a press gently from the inside. It won't hurt anything. And now we have a nice decorative paper box, and we can add candy to this or anything that we want. And it's 100% paper, and because we're using a medium to heavier weight paper, it'll hold candy just fine. And you can make these in a variety of sizes if you want, fill them with some candy, and give someone a very special handmade Valentine box. Make sure you go and download these templates. They are available below in the video description. I really hope you guys like this tutorial. It was a lot of fun to make. I really loved adding the mandala to the top of the box. It created a very different element to a handmade heart box. And you can see all those pretty layers that we have there. So go ahead and download these templates and try this for yourself, and I will see you there. Bye for now.